Well, that happened. Listen, we would love to have won. There was a chance. But then by quarter number 3, we knew there wasn't a chance. So my thoughts is we got to keep it pushing. We have to keep it pushing. There's a long season ahead of us. I love this tournament. I love the idea of the tournament. I love the fact that people get up for it. It means something. I think the NBA is building it as they fly. I predicted in the summertime that they are going to embed within this tournament some perks to make it mean something down the line. So whether it's the winner of the tournament gets a higher seeding or a guaranteed spot, or the MVP of the tournament gets a spot in an all-star game somewhere, they're going to embed little nuggets within this tournament idea to really make it fruitful for the players and the teams. But yesterday was, it was tough. So in one game, we knew the implications of it, but it's just one game as part of the season. So we got to keep it moving. Love how Julius came out. I think that was a great game plan for him to come out aggressive. The key was the 3 fouls very early on Giannis, but that has to be something that is to be expected. It was almost like, and I'm not comparing Giannis to Michael Jordan, but it was almost like the 90s when we used to say, we're going to let other players on the Chicago Bulls beat us. And we're just going to double down on Mike and try to contain Mike. And ultimately, you have to rely on the reliability of his teammates. And that's what they did. And to be frank and honest, it's just tough. Pick your poison when deciding who you want to lock in on in terms of Giannis or Dame. One thing I didn't appreciate, but, when you get a win like that and you have the talent like that, you can talk your talk. Is Dame coming on there like, yeah, we could have clearly went up to 160, this, that, and the third. He was probably right. There was some chippers that they missed, but some of that has to do with our defense, and the way we played. I had even written as a note early on in the second quarter, the New York Knicks had several stretches where they were playing defense on a string. So, it's going to be Reaction Wednesday, the day after, where everybody's going to be a Monday or Wednesday morning quarterback. There's going to be a lot of frustration. I was watching Twitter. A lot of people had takes validated or not. What I will say is I am a little bit concerned about Grimes. I am one of those people who is just like, Grimes has that potential for us to develop into a really good player. I think he could be a star in this league. But he's having a stretch. And it's so funny because he was inserted in the starting lineup so early as an NBA player, there is something called a sophomore slump that players go through. And I don't think he ever really encountered it because he's always been under the umbrella of stars on the team. So he hasn't been the primary focus and he hasn't had primary touches. But I think in a season where there are IQ who kind of emerged last season during the regular season, and then you have a DiVincenzo who comes up off of the bench and lights it up, I think it puts more spotlight and pressure on his contribution while he's in the lineup. Now he's had a rough stretch, and even myself, I'll say, obviously it's the coach's decision. If the coach decides to pull him and put DiVincenzo in there for a little bit more pop and have him see how he responds coming off of the bench, that's fine. But if you know anything about our coach, you know that he's very loyal and he's a believer, and that's how he is able to create stars in this league, because he has unwavering confidence in them, and that's just part of the lineage of the Riley tree. We remember John Starks, 1 for 11, so we will see. I had said in the summertime, though, that in order for the Knicks to take it to another level, then they need to make Quentin Grimes the number 3 option. And that was not anything against anybody else on the team, not against RJ, not against anybody else. But the level of inconsistency that sometimes we see from members on this team outside of Jalen Brunson, if we're being honest. You got to think about, all right, what would happen if a player gets more touches? We see it with Obi. What would happen if Obi gets more touches? And once again, anyway, so bad win. My reflections on the game is the same as all of you. Completely disappointed. Wanted to be able to rise to the level. But with our team, we just got to get there. We don't have the standout talent that a lot of other teams have in this league. We are a team that's on the uptick. We're on the uprise. We have young pieces. We have some cohesion in our team. And we are the team that's going to play and fight to the end. This is an anomaly for us. This is rarely this is a team that's rarely out of an NBA game. So all of you who are just jumping off the end of the bridge, don't. Just hold tight. Don't. Also, I'll say this. We used to say that Knicks get clicks. I think we have to be a little bit more specific. Negative Knicks get clicks. Okay? So when you're watching the TNTs and you're watching, the different, or you're listening to the different announcers and you're looking at the takes that people have on their morning shows. I was listening to Keyshawn Johnson. He was just like, well, who's the worst team in the tournament? Let's just use New York. It's very easy to use us as a punching bag. We have Kenny Smith who's talking about there's nobody better on the team than Paolo Banchero. Everybody wants to make these high, salacious takes that's going to get clicks. They know New York Knicks Twitter's going to be in an uproar. We can't fall for the bait. And something else that we also have to stop doing is being the ones with those type of takes. Because at the same time, we also know, New York Knicks Twitter is so funny because you have emergent personalities within the community. And that's how they get their shine or they get their fame. Either they're overly positive or they're overly negative. Okay? Some people maybe look at me and be like, yo, you overly positive. You always got this positive spin on it. I like to think I do. I'm always a glass half filled type of person. But also, I'm realistic with it as well. I know when we're not on the level of a particular team. Say what you will, but Milwaukee has championship pieces on their team. Okay? So we will see. It's a long season, and we will be measured by our performance over the period of the season, over the period of the playoffs. And then we can make an assessment. But yeah, it was a tough win to kind of take in. It was a tough loss to take in, especially when you're looking, it's natural to compare yourself to other teams. And that Indiana performed super well. Kudos to them. They faced Boston. It's about matchups. And we've always had a tough time matching up with the bigs on Milwaukee, and the snipers. And, I forget the guy's name. I don't want to disrespect him, but the three-point shooter. It's little moments like that. I had said that we need to concentrate our efforts. One of my keys to a victory is to make sure we concentrate on our efforts on the bigs. So it's going to be big time for Hartenstein and Mitch, to either get the fouls on those players. Giannis is just a beast, bro. Giannis is just a beast. No matter how you defend him, he has a game like a small forward. He's big. He's physical. He went down with that knee injury, and I started to do the, I started twerking a little bit, and then he circled the block and he spun the block. He got right up. And I'm like, it's that type of durability. It's that type of physicality as a leader that inspires your team. And the man was unaffected. It was almost like he got angry at his knee for temporarily tweaking. He got angry at his ankle for temporarily tweaking. He got up and pushed through, and he still was equally as dominant. So that's where we want to be, and I know I'm going to take a brief, 5 seconds to window shop. That's why I say Giannis is the prize. Look at all my videos. I was just like, say what y'all will. I was super upset that Dame went to Milwaukee because Giannis was ready to bounce. If you ask me, Giannis was ready to bounce. Giannis is the prize. A player like that separates you clearly from everybody else. Not a DeMar DeRozan, nobody else. A player like Giannis is a transcendent type of player. A player like Zion, say what you will, healthy, yes. is a transcendent, dominant type of player. Okay? Don't get him in shape. All right? So I'm going to try to be more consistent with my videos. And I just wanted to give this take. Knicks fans, we have a good team. Understand that we have a good team. One thing I absolutely love was when the game started, it was just like the number 3 offense in the league versus the number 1 defense in the league. And that's how on national television in a big time game that you won to get in and had a knockout game facing you, that's how you want to be introduced. Talk my talk. Okay, number 1 defense in the league. And we're supposedly a small team. So let's not be those parents who, constantly is raising the bar every time your child stands up and reaches the standard you previously set. Let's kind of, we can still be critical, but let's continue to support our team, and we look forward to the next few games. We do have a tough schedule, but once again, this is an anomaly where we get blown out and we're not necessarily in a game. So just as tough as the schedule looks to us, understand that teams don't look past us either. We're equally as tough for them as they are for us. So also keep that in mind. Keep this in mind as well. Same thing applies to life that applies to our team. If there's no struggle, there's no progress. But also remember this, everybody eats here in Knicks Deli. I'm Sheer, and I'm out. Peace.